introduce yourself, guys.
My name is Reyna. I'm from BSc Chemistry and Environmental Science. My name is Ronda. I'm from Theatre and Psychology. I grew up here in Bangalore. I've been living here for the past 12 years. But I'm from Kerala. And I'm born and raised in Bangalore. So yeah, and I think my background is mixed up from Bangalore.
I'll ask you 10 questions. All you have to do is tell me whatever you think is right. There are no right or wrong answers. You can take as long as you want. First one. Could you describe a significant tradition or custom from your culture that influenced the way you see or perceive yourself? You can take as long as you want.
My culture is very mixed, so since we're very westernized, as I'm Anglo, we've got a lot of, we don't have a lot of culture, at least very traditional, sophisticated. And Indian culture is like already mixed to so much, we lack that. Right now I think being Christian is my culture. I don't know if it's like particularly a culture thing, but like from like my family, like I think it is a culture thing, like like acts of service or like always like doing stuff for other people and like assisting people with everything is like a way of showing that you care about them, that you're like you are there for them.
How you perceive yourself.
Oh wow. Oh okay.
So, do you think the way you care for someone, somewhere you're like, oh, I might be a bit caring because of my culture?
Oh, yeah. Like through doing things for me.
Yeah. What are some core values or beliefs in your culture that shape your identity and decision making?
Well, in my culture, something like we're very open. I think our sort of community is very open-minded.
It's fine.
And yeah, like they don't have like a lot of reserve. So like I think if you go to it's quite easy to talk to them. And I think I get that sort of characteristic from myself. And that's a core characteristic from my culture. Yeah. I think it's like almost exactly the opposite. With like, putting on this thing of like of not being like, I guess my culture like it's sort of like a pretense of sorts, but like you just like you can't be open to everything. We don't like talk about our feelings to each other or like like have emotional what means kind of thing. But like through actions, I suppose it's more
How does your cultural background influence the way you communicate with others? Are there any unique communication styles or norms in your culture? Yeah.
You don't like say it like directly, but then in a way that you act with it, show them. Like it's more speaking through actions than words.
Also, are there any specific words or phrases in your culture that you think you use automatically? See, like, let's say, like Malays, right? They often, like, when they address, like, someone they don't know, even if they don't know, like, yeah, something like that, which is very prevalent in your language.
No, me adding in. Okay, in my culture, what was the question?
You want to know the second question? Or?
The one question.
How does your culture background influence the way you communicate with others?
Yeah, I think just like that, since we have like a wide, like not a specific set of traditions, like we try to incorporate other things, like food, stuff like that, really, I think, communicates with other people. And in terms of phrases, we have a particular set of phrases that are very Anglo-like. But now it kind of sounds very bad. Anyway, like, have you ever heard something? What man? What child? Like, that's very endearing way. Like, but it's like a very Anglo thing. Like, hi dude, what's up bro? Like, hi child, what you doing man? You know? Yeah.
How do the food and drink traditions of your culture reflect your personal identity or cultural values? No, we can take it. No pressure. No,
I'll go first. So, like I said, my culture is very important. And in terms of food, we incorporate a lot of Indian tradition, Western tradition. Like, there's no set specific sort of Anglo-Indian food. Like, we've got curries, we've got vindal, we've got rasam that we call pepper. And honestly, food connects like Anglo-Indians a lot. Like, every actual Anglo-Indian get-together, there's food and drink. Okay, it's just a potluck. That's an excuse for the adults. So that's where the drinking comes. And I love drinking.
So do you think that has any way on how you view yourself?
Well, that's how I view my culture.
Yeah, like for example, like let's say some cultures are like, oh, drinking is bad, and some people adopt that. So do you have anything like that? I've been brought up in like a family that not necessarily encourages drinking, but they don't discourage it. They don't discourage it. Every New Year's Day, some uncles like black out. So yeah. Does that mean like that gives you a sense of like, oh, it's fine? Yeah, it definitely gives you a sense. But they're definitely like reserved a bit with below the age of 30. Above that, you're free. Actually, yeah, 13 years old. So it's like, I guess, definitely. You don't have to one of people that have liver poisoning. What's that? Liver poisoning and liver failure. Does that mean you also get that? No. So that, in that way, my culture stops me. That's what. Yeah, so like you look at it and you're like, I don't really drink at the family house, especially if it's uncles with uncles.
That's too real, that the whole thing. But I feel like because it's so openly like drinking and stuff is just there at home, it doesn't feel so like it doesn't feel so wrong, but also it doesn't feel like this amazing like unattainable state. Yeah, you're like it's been there at home for like so many years and you've been like tasting it or like having it in some months. So you're not, I feel like suddenly when you're like faced with a situation where you have to drink, you're not like gonna go crazy and like lose yourself. Because you're like, I know, like there's no novelty factor. There's nothing like, oh my god, this is crazy. You're just like, oh, okay, that's fine.
Yeah. So does that have any influence on your beliefs?
I think, also like Muslim Christian religious so I feel like it has opened me up to like trying anything.
Yeah,
we have yeah, and like it's not doesn't feel scary to like try it, you know, because you're like, oh, yeah.
How does social norms and expectations within your culture affect your behavior and self-perception?
The main thing is like in Malayali culture is like, you know, not the whole like what do people think, what do people say if you're doing something. If you're doing something that's like not even bad, if you're just doing something that's not right in there, like you can't like hang around with boys, you can't be going out late, you can't be wearing short clothes, like you got to live in a good Hindu Christian world. Yeah. So like, I feel like you're always being viewed from an outside. You're always being watched, and like the community sense is so strong that even if your neighbor or something sees you outside and they recognize you and you're like doing something that they think is wrong, it's over for you. Like they will tell your family, and then it'll become this whole thing, you know. So I feel like because of that, you are like you're very aware of how you're being, how you're acting in public, and like.
But do you think that's a good thing or bad?
I think a sense of community is great for me personally. I love sense of community, but not one where they're constantly policing you for like just doing normal to others.
I don't think I done anything. I just have Are there any cultural expectations or norms in your culture that affect the way your behavior or self-perception?
Yeah, I think a big part of Anglo culture is not realizing, is feeling that you're Anglo, as in you're Anglo, not Indian. Yeah, so like a big part, if you talk to like any Anglo, at least any like old Anglo, like
Good or old?
Old Anglo. Like they have this very twisted sort of perception that, oh, I'm so Anglo, I'm not Indian, like don't call me Indian, I'm not Anglo, okay? And they like say it like it's like a horrible thing, like it's disgusting, okay? And I think even like growing up, I've been told like, honestly, like very racist things about Indians, like I myself, I mean, like,
So do you think does that affect you?
yeah, like before, I felt very ostracized. Yeah, like I'm not, I don't belong. Like I don't belong, not only because I don't fit in with them, but because I'm told I'm not like everyone. You know?
Do you think that made you feel segregated or made you feel superior?
I think the point of view that they put on me was that you're superior, which is a very, very misleading. But no one said, yeah,
Affect you the same way they want you?
it did. I felt like I was, like, I didn't belong anywhere and I didn't really fit in.
Did it have an impact on making friends?
Yeah, it did before. Like, I thought the only friends I could actually communicate with was fellow Anglo-Indians. But, yeah, and every culture has like, oh, you should talk to them. But imagine, you can't talk to an Indian. And who's going to tell you, you're Indian too, you know? And they also have like this belief that, oh, whatever it is, don't involve yourself in India because you gotta go abroad or something. You gotta go abroad something. So that's like a norm there. Any Anglo, they just gotta go abroad something.
You always felt like you don't belong.
Yeah, but now I feel like coming to college, even like going to school, actually not college. My school is an Anglo school. Yeah, but yeah. After college, I think I mixed it up. Yeah, I'm Indian.
Go. In what ways does your family or community play a role in shaping your sense of self or identity?
I think for me it plays a huge role in like shaping the kind of person I am and also the kind of person that I want to be. Because like they're always like looking at you, they're always watching you, they're always like seeing you. So like you want to be, in some ways you want to be like, you want to live up to their standards and you want to like, you want the community to be proud of you because the community did like raise you in some way and like, they were like all there when you were like through the whole course of your life. But also in some ways like the expectations they have for you are so high and sometimes just so like unattainable or like just so weird that, and if like I don't personally want to be that kind of person. So also there's like this thing of like maybe I don't have to do everything that they want.
Do you think that's your personal space or like the
I think many young people now feel that way of like, but then some people also go the other, like whole other extreme and they're like doing everything against, yeah, just for that, no, just for that feeling of like not adhering to the community.
Do you think that has affected your interpersonal relationships with like people who are not Filipino, where you try to live up to someone else's standards?
Yes. It's a question.
If you want to do that again, what role does your family or community play in you discovering something?
Well, in a very literal way of education, okay, I think the reason why I started actually trying to study and progress here is because even though my community doesn't really like stick together, they really pride themselves with each other. So we used to have like scholarships and stuff, and that I felt, and I just really like getting prized and everyone's like, wow, we have magazines, and I have magazines, and magazines come every
Are you one of them?
I used to do that, yeah. Now I don't go for it. Yeah, so it was pretty cool, and I mean, education-wise, that's what shaped me.
Do you think that's affected like anything else except for education? Like you want to impress?
I feel like it was the reward system of and the acknowledgement. Like I told you, I come from a Anglo, so you know they kind of trying to really like try to. When we did something good, we did something great. You know?
So like do you think it's affected how you see situations? Like it may be like something that you don't like. Let's say for example, if you get less scores or something, you self-critique yourself.
Yeah, I definitely like I did like, oh my god, no one's gonna like this. Like it's not like I don't like it, everybody does.
Still worried about what?
What other people are gonna think of my skills.
How has your family or your community help not just help, like made you develop your own sense of self?
And also, I think since you're like very open-minded, I think we let us like explore. Like we don't have the traditional sort of education pressure. Like oh, you have to be a doctor, you have to be a manager, you have like a range manager and all that. Like they let you to be yourself. So I think as much as possible. Who I am today is not because anyone pushed me, but because I
One sec. I just have a text my friend.
Repeat that again.
Are there any rituals or practices that you participate in that significantly impact your self-identity? It doesn't have to be religious. It can be something that you do.
We really do make being Christian our personality. Other than that, I don't think we have any practices.
Why do you think being Christian is such a huge practice?
Because the majority, I think, will be very rare. There are few like other religions of Anglos, but usually like whoever, like the Anglos that came here, especially like Europeans and the Germans, they all were like Christians. So there are a lot of Anglos that converted to other religions.
So do you think that tradition, you hold on to it? Or do you like detest it?
No, I am Christian myself because my family is Christian. But also I've come to Christian. So maybe that is part. That is definitely part of my culture. Even though it doesn't seem like it. It is.
What is the question? Ritual?
Any rituals or practices that you engage in? Which ones are you?
Not really a ritual, but I guess like eating together. Yeah. Like we always eat together, especially like everyone is. Yeah, it's like not really a rule,
Like
but like
something
it's just
very cool, not like
expected.
real,
Yeah, it's just expected. Like if people like if it's the time for dinner and you're in the house, like you're expected to be there already for dinner unless you like said you're not going to be there, and like everybody's eating together, everybody is like talking to each other, and like you that doesn't happen on, like it's very rare that that doesn't happen on her.
So you're saying that you guys eating together is the community experience.
Yeah.
The strong, this, you
That,
guys
yeah,
are
yeah,
very,
the
really strong
sense of like
community.
connection.
Even bread.
Yeah. Oh my God. Even bread time. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like thing. If you're not there for that, it's like, oh my God, where were you? What were you doing? Even if you're like in the house, you're studying, you're on a meeting, you're on a call, you have to like come and be there. Stop. Exactly. Like on leave. Okay. Don't. No, we keep sitting down on the ground. Damn. I'm suffering.
How does your culture address diversity and inclusion? Has this influenced the way you view yourself? Ronda can go first. No, because like you already answered this.
Yeah. So as I said, diversity and inclusion. Even though we say that we have a lot of diversity, because like no Anglo-Indians made up of the same Anglo of the same Indian, you know? Yeah. So even though we have a lot of mix in us, we acknowledge the part of English, like the diverse, like you could say like Kannada, Tamil, Mallu, anything like that. We discriminate. They really discriminate against them. So the diversity we have is how diverse they discriminate.
You're not inclusive at all.
Oh, okay. We are inclusive. So you get the best of two worlds. Okay? In Anglo, you get really friendly Anglos that have such a strong sort of love the world, feel the world type that will go make you a whole pot roast and give you a like liver or something just for fun because Nana made extra or something. And you also have the type that says, oh, I don't want to go talk to like this person because they're like one stupid person. Okay? And it's like,
Does that affect the way you make friends?
it does, because before, as I said, I mostly grew up with silent Anglos that were like Indian. And like the type that was not like, oh, Indian, but like, oh, yeah. So that's what I really get about it. And that makes it feel like, it's not like something different, but something as I was lacking, like I couldn't be like the people who had tradition. Yeah, like I said, it's history and culture, but like my mother tongue is really mother tongue, my mother tongue is English, so I don't have like a language to communicate with someone. All I had was English and history and Anglo-Indian. What part of Anglo? I don't know. What part of Indian? I don't know. So, yeah, it just made me feel like I was very not really unity and diversity, you know?
So when you were growing up, it made it harder for you to approach people.
It made it horribly hard. Like, I didn't really know if, like, even growing up, everyone's usually very to their community. You could see, like, the Tamil kids hanging out with the Tamil kids. And, yeah, and like the Hindi kids hanging out with the Hindi kids and they have, like, Hindi jokes. And you're like, what? Pathshala, what? Yeah. Like, I felt like a big divide. Even if I was friends with them, they
Couldn't relate.
yeah, I couldn't relate. I couldn't
think
relate
language
to
played like a big
yeah. Language played a big part. Music played a big part. Jokes, everything. Yeah, music is language, and I don't know. I was brought up in different music. They were definitely brought up in different music. Yeah.
So I feel like there's a lot of exclusion within the controversial. Malus don't hate me, but I feel like there's a lot of like exclusion within the community. Like there's a front on the outside of Malus, we sit together, we love each other. But like if there's even one thing about you that's not up to the mark or like not up to the Malus standard, they hate on you within the, not to the outside, like they won't complain about you to like non-Malus. Like in that circle, they'll be like, oh my god, like she doesn't speak my tongue, or like she doesn't do this, she doesn't do that, like she doesn't, you know, she doesn't wear traditional clothing, you know, things like that. She doesn't go to church, oh my god. But only within, it's never like said out. From the outside, they want that thing of like, we're all
love each other.
What about like people outside your country?
I don't think there's
You accept it?
yeah.
What about you?
Oh, right. So, add to that, similar to us, you know how we discriminate? Not we discriminate, sorry.
No, see.
Sorry, right.
You know how we, like, discriminate sometimes about people outside our country? Even inside, like, if someone is so there's this constitution, you know how I... What are the definition of being an angry blood? If someone is bad of having angry blood or using the dialect, but if someone is normal angry and they claim they're angry, we could be like, are they stupid? Yeah. And if somebody has like a mother tongue or like proper grown up in a household, like in a household, like you wouldn't consider them angry.
Sorry. You know, I was like, no, I'm going to pick a fight with a guy who's punching for yeah.
So if you're like more mixed than the normal mix, or like more darker skin, more very typical ethnically Indian things, or they sounded different, they didn't have like proper like command in English, how do you say that? Like they had the pronunciation. Or they use like their first language is not English. Like you wouldn't consider them Anglo. And in a way you'd be like, please don't come to any of the Anglo parties or anything.
Oh, it's like
Like you wouldn't like or you politely be like, no child.
Can you share a personal experience that highlights how your cultural background has influenced your own side? Like an anecdote. Ninth only, 10th only.
Like a story that describes my culture actually. Right? So growing up, I used to love like smoked pepper. So my favorite meal was boiled pepper and beef, right? And that sounds goofy to y'all because guess what? It's just rasam. Rasam, goat soup, and this thing. But I always thought it was something special, like oh, it's so Anglo-Indian, like it's so Anglo, like not bone fry, beef vindaloo and bone pepper. So growing up, I was like, oh, that's such an Anglo thing, dude. That's such an Anglo thing. I don't know where it's from, I don't know what it's from, but it's such an Anglo thing. It's not an Indian thing. And even if you go to like my granny's place and stuff, she'll be like, no, you can only get like good bone pepper.
It's more like the personal experience, not food. You should have told us like when I asked the food question. It's more like you did something. You did something and you're like, oh shit. Only I'm sorry, I didn't want to cut you off, but like, I don't think it's about food.
Not really. You know what I was
That's
going to
hard,
say? Just Indian guys.
Like the way,
I can confirm it.
yeah, not just like culture.
It can be anything,
The way
it can be
it is
anything.
stuff.
Yeah.
So like when I have like not a fall, like maybe a falling out with someone. I had a falling out with someone.
Who?
Anonymous. Okay. I feel like my first reaction is to like be like, I'm so sorry. Oh my God. Like please take me back. Don't be angry. Don't hate me. Because like sort of in the culture we want to never be in the wrong. You know, like always. Maybe not be in the right, but just not like in the wrong and like, you know, proudly be in the wrong, like, yeah, so what?
So even
So
if
what?
it's their fault, you still...
Yeah, like that thing of like, I need to apologize first. Even if I wasn't wrong, I need to apologize first because we need to make amends somehow, and I should be the person who starts doing it. Yeah. So.
ये डाला।
Racist moments.
Go on.
So my grandpa.
You don't understand.
So my grandpa is very white.
Hey.
He's very British.
Huh.
And very Anglo. Very Anglo. Hey.
Up.
Come on, he's jobs, not his jobs. Okay. So he was very old, like the old type of Anglos. The old type of Anglos that had the discriminatory mindset. Like I think like my mom and all would have like that very segregated, but he did for sure. I remember I was in the garden with him once, and there was like a bunch of like schoolboys passing us, and he was like, "Not these Indian boys."
Okay.
And I was like,
How old are you?
it was like 5 years. Okay,
Oh,
it was like
so
5
you
years.
knew what he was saying.
I knew what he
You
said.
knew what he was saying.
And I was like, oh, and he goes, it's all of these Indians that want to disrupt everything.
Not your grandpa. Thanks for
No,
your
here, no, here. And he was like, and then there were, and you know these college students, especially like these government school college students that come and they go in one corner and all, okay. You know what they're up to. No, I'll tell you what they're up to.
No, I don't think we need it.
I won't. So, like he saw like a very typical kurti wearing girl and like with one little boy like this, okay, and they're walking the road. So here he goes, the little Indian boy found himself a dart. In the same day, in the same 2 minutes.
Dart is crazy.
I was like, I was an idiot. I said, what do you mean? I was like, what?
Explain.
Yeah, I was like, what's that, Bob? Like, she was sweet. You know what's that? Like a sweet.
Yeah, it does,
I
yeah.
was like, wow. And he goes,
Oh.
it's these Indians, especially the young Indians. I was like, bro, I'm a young Indian. What do you think about me? Okay. Anyways, not that.
Next question, last question. Have you noticed any changes in your self-identity or cultural practice over time? What factors do you think have contributed to these changes?
Yeah. I definitely noticed a lot of changes. Like before I was very scared to talk to another sort of culture, community person. Now I think I'm more open, especially coming to college, seeing like so many different people here. Even in school, especially in high school, I started interacting with like people from other communities, other religions, not only sticking to someone who's necessarily from my thing or like represents something westernized. Yeah, so I guess from that point, I started growing and developing into a person that has their own opinions on stuff, maybe. Yeah, and I think in that sense, I've developed, I've changed a lot. I think now maybe the stereotypes of Anglo-Indians doesn't necessarily affect me.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Okay, maybe not the whole culture as a whole, but like maybe just like particularly in my family, like things that we grew up them telling us like that's bad, you should never do that. Now slowly like I guess seeing the outside perspective, they're slowly like, okay, maybe it's not that bad. Like it's okay. Like don't do it, but like it's fine. Like I don't know, like, oh my god, like getting like a second piercing or like getting piercings or like, you know, any kind of body modification like that is like, no, you can't do it.
I walked inside her house.
Yeah.
And her mom was like, "Ronda, how many piercings do you have?"
She was shook.
And I was kind of influencing her cousin to get like,
Another,
and her mom was like, "You can't come home with that and messy."
yeah. But then, you know, like seeing people from like the more you like bring friends home, the more you like talk about other people in the family. It's like not so, you know, like doesn't seem so evil like that anymore. Like you know, yeah, like the whole piercing thing. Like after, you know, seeing like my elder cousin and her friend, my mom got a second. after all her
Things
things,
have changed.
yeah, after everything of like you can't like ruin your body, she herself got it. She almost got it. Like it's not. Yeah, so like as the years pass, I feel like they do kind of adapt to like
Blessing.
yeah. Nice.
Okay, you can end it, but also in the ritual thing, add that a very Anglo ritual culture thing, tradition thing is playing bingo. Every family event, they play bingo, and they've got like goofy names like two ducks and an egg. 220, I'm just kidding. No, but like two ducks, 22.
Like to call out the numbers.
Yeah.
Hey.
Like it's very, very goofy. Like I wish I knew what it is, but it's mad funny. Yeah.
Yay.
I don't know the stranger danger, but